Thank you very much for joining us this morning, Marina. If you could please start with a little bit about yourself and your interest within the Department of Curriculum and Pedagogy.
Thank you, Andrea. It's a pleasure speaking to you. My name is Marina Milner-Bolotin, and I am an assistant professor at the Department of Curriculum and Pedagogy. And my area of interest is science education, teacher education, and the use of technology in science teacher education. In other words, what I want to figure out, how can we use what today is so available, such as smartphones, all those modern technology to change how our kids learn science in the classroom. But as you can see here, I'm also very much interested in the traditional hands-on things in the classroom, not just technology, but how do we make this experience authentic and meaningful for the students.
Okay. Could you talk a little bit about some of your current projects or some of your current interests that you're working with?
Absolutely. And that's what I brought, a couple of things here. As you can see, I love hands-on things. And the reason I love it so much, because they make you think conceptually about science. A lot of people dislike science because they think science and mathematics is memorizing stuff that doesn't make any sense. For me, science is something very, very different. For example, I see science everywhere around us. This is Galilean thermometer that works on the idea of buoyancy. And I see this as an amazing opportunity to discuss science with the students. I do it here in the context of teacher education. I work with science teachers, elementary and both in secondary. But I see all those things as opportunity to make science meaningful for students. And my role here is to do it through teacher education. Because I don't teach science right now, though I have been a math and science teacher in middle school and in secondary school. But right now, I think the biggest impact I can make is through educating teachers. And if I think about it to myself, that every person who becomes a teacher, if we think we're in contact, let's say, with 100 kids every year, and if you think that a teacher will work for 25 years, so it's 2,500 people, it's a huge impact. So every teacher that I can inspire here to teach science differently, I think I've done something that will last for generations.
Yeah. Okay, do you want to talk about one or two of the pieces that you have?
Yeah, absolutely, and that relates to my research. For example, one of the big projects that I work on, and I put it on the website there, my graduate students and I work on creating resources for conceptual science teaching. And when I say conceptual, I mean not the formula memorization, but making sense of what we learn in the classroom, connecting it to everyday life. For example, I'm a dollar store junkie. So for example, those are beads that are used in the garden they absorb water. The beads start from, for example, a couple of millimeters in diameter and can grow in volume up to 200 times. But what I can do here, those are beads that have grown, and I use red just to make it more fun. And you can see as soon as you start pouring water, it looks like the beads disappear. But as a teacher educator, I can ask a lot of questions. Why does it happen? And it brings me to the issue of inquiry. To me, inquiry is how we understand science. Different fields have different ways of knowing. Art is a different way how we look at things, how we get to understand things. In science, inquiry is how we get to understand things.
And could you talk a little bit about how you see technology as a lever for some of the work that you're doing?
Absolutely. It's a great question, and this is where my big research concern is. In the last, I would say, 30 years, probably starting in the 90s, when technology started coming massively into the classroom, there was a huge debate about technology, what will it do, how will it make a difference. And what happened, people were arguing, will there be computers in the classroom? We know the papers by Cuban and others. Will there be this? Will there be that? Today we don't have this argument because the kids now have smartphones. They can do things. What we don't think about enough, and it's my point in my research focus, is what do we do with this technology that it makes a difference? It's not a question, will it come to our classroom? It is in our classrooms. But in many classrooms, technology is used as glorified teacher-centered learning environment. For example, a big chunk of my research is about clickers. And those are devices, and I have it in my office, but if you want, I can later show you. But those are devices that allow to ask student questions and pull them to know what the answer is. But if you use clickers for attendance, the whole purpose of student engagement disappears. If you have a smart board and you use it to give a PowerPoint presentation, when you click through 70 slides in 20 minutes and think that the kids will learn, doesn't make any sense. So my question with technology, what do you do that they can do inquiry, that they can ask questions? I don't want everybody to become a scientist. We don't need it. But we need people who, A, will be excited about the world around them, the same way you came and you started playing. Yeah, like, what is it? How does this work? And the second thing is I want them to be able to judge a lot of issues that are happening in the world today, touch all of us. Mm-hmm. You think about global warming, climate change, you think about power generation. Canada has a lot of hydropower, but we also have a lot of nuclear power plants. What are we going to do with that? We have Triumph right here on campus. A lot of things touch us. And if we have the population that is scared of science and math, they're powerless. They're going to be not participating in a truly democratic society. So my goal as a science educator is to see how can I help prepare teachers and to explore the role of technology in teacher education. So that's what I do.
Very cool. Thank you.